Welcome to Hour. Today you are with me, Nikki Phinyapincha. This is going to be the eye-openings with your ears with the transgender life. Let's check it out.
Hello,
Hi,
how are you today?
I'm good. And what about you?
Actually a bit tired, but it's good to see you.
Oh, me too. What happened? What have you been trying?
I think like I'm dealing with office syndrome. It's come to a place where now I find it more difficult to talk. That's why I will be in the position to ask
Okay.
because I cannot talk much.
All right.
I actually knew you the first time like last month during Pride Month.
Yeah.
And since then I've seen you for like 4 or 5 times already. So it's good to finally get to talk to you.
Thank you. ขอบคุณค่ะ Thanks for inviting me too.
Yes, and there's actually a lot more that I want people to know more about you.
Really?
Yes.
Is that any interesting that you should know?
Can you tell me more about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So, well, actually, I'm a Bangkok, born, living here in Bangkok for, almost of my life. And then I study here in a local school. And I moved 2 years to Switzerland for studying my master degree. And after that, I came back and work here until I think almost 10 years now. I've been here. So, yeah, and living here as a person who I really live in underdevelopment of area in Bangkok is quite challenging. It's miserable, but it's challenging as well. How that you could survive. I think you have heard as well, like when people say, "Oh, to live in Bangkok, to have a better life, you need to get rich. I mean, you need to be rich so you can survive in there." But well, I would say actually, even though I was not rich, even still now, I'm still not rich. But by the way, you can still survive. I mean, we have a lot of challenging, happening in life. So yeah, that's why I'm still here. So
I think like adversity, like difficulties in life is typical. But in your case, there are so many aspects of difficulties because you were, basically economically you weren't like fortunate, you weren't rich. You were also a transgender growing up in Thailand, in Bangkok, which is like, for me, is quite conservative. Tell me more about, growing up as a transgender.
I would say actually, living in Thailand as in the underdevelopment area, have a very, concern about economic status, financial problem, and being a transgender, to me, I define it as like, as a curse. Apart from, being a very low class of the people in the society, I also need to, do the double job, fighting for my economic, status or opportunity for living, for like, earning for living. And at the same time, struggling for my self-identity, to get accepted, to get, involved in any opportunity, resources, access to, opportunity to live, to grow, individually and also professionally. So that's why I think when talking about being a transgender here, of course, in the conservative, Thai society, it's never, been easy. And it's still, now today, we have seen a lot of, transgender, got a lot of, harassment, discrimination, in any kind of form. Violence events, we have been, perceived by the society, by the people around, people in the society that, well, as a transgender, you cannot have the happy ending life, and you cannot work in other sectors rather than just beauty, media, entertainment, and sex industry. That's why I'm telling you that it's like a curse. You are how could I say that, stereotyped to be a person that you don't want to be. I think it's very a problem. Not only for ourselves, how to survive, but I think that make the society a little backward because we cannot help everyone to be treated equally. Otherwise, you wouldn't see, a lot of news happening that, wow, transgender got violence, got discrimination, got a lot of, stereotype image of being a transgender, which is not credible when you need to, you want to work, you want to have a healthy relationship with someone, no matter who they are, male, female, or whatever. So I think there are a lot of traps that we put it or place into this trap. That sometimes we don't even know that this is a trap that is created by the society or even by ourselves. Because being a children, being a child, you are raised by the society, and a lot of notions, idea, the culture that has been shaping the way that who you are, it also have made a transgender think about themselves as well. The way that they see themselves, that wow, people tell me I'm not credible, I'm not trustworthy, I cannot work outside of those industry. Sometimes it really make us, in the trap of thinking about ourselves, like not be able to do more things rather than we think that we can do. I think that's the very, a problematic, which is not only by ourselves, but it's like systematic barriers and structural problematic issues that we are facing right now as transgender.
There's a saying called it takes a village to raise a children, and the village that we were growing up into is quite a rough village, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
You have to deal with financial problem for your family, and I think when I say this, I think it's touched a lot of people because we weren't rich.
Yeah.
Also, being a transgender, growing up 30 odd years ago, it was quite difficult. It's not like what is it today, which is even now it's not super healthy yet. Can you tell me a few things about when you were growing up and it was difficult for you being a transgender?
Sure. For example, when I was in school, primary school, well, in that time, as a baby boy, we don't even know, what does it mean being a lady boy or being a transgender, even this word. But what I know is that I'm just a child. When I was in primary school, there are a lot of, classes, lessons in the school. For example, sport class, the teacher asked the boys to play football. For the girls, okay, you can play whatever you want. Girls' activities, girl games that they are playing. What about me? What else? What other options that I had that time? So of course I need to fit in with a girl. But being different as very small. Some girls, they even didn't understand, and some also make a lot of gossip, behind me. And that make me feel like, oh my God, these two sides of the people, boys and girls, and I want to be part of that, but how? Because I feel so different, and I don't have a peer or a group that I can join, right? So it make me I need to stay alone. So that's the first moment that I feel like I'm so different, and how can I live further in the future? At that time, no one, even the family, didn't understand. They tried to push me, into the boy group, of course, because was born as a boy. And once also my father, he tried to send me to do the conversion therapy. You know what that means?
I have heard about it. I just realized it's actually a real place for that.
It's not a place, but it's an activity. He sent me to the โรงเรียนฝึกลูกเสือหรือทหาร something. I feel like, oh my God, my family didn't even listen to what I'm telling, who I am. And I didn't feel how I can live for the one. And that made me believe, according to my family told me that, oh, if you are like this, if you behave like girl, but you were born as a boy, you're not going to be end happy ending. And I believe in that. that time, when you were so young. I was manipulated by that idea first. But I think the more I grow, there were some, turning points that make me like, okay, I want to revolutionize, my self-identity and to be the one that I want, and I want to have my own future, and I don't care what the other people say. I think when it came to the high school, when I could unlock my potential to study, better. I don't know what happened. Maybe I put very, very focused much on the study because I want to have a better future life. So I changed my behavior, changed my habits, focus on the study. And once I study, better, I got a very good grade. I became, one of the top score students. And family, getting to, I think they started to admit me a little bit more. And when I could be able to go to the university, one of them, quite well known and popular in Thailand. So it proves that actually I can have my own, decision on my own life. Yeah. So from that time, I think they are more and more learning, even though they never, even today, they never say, oh, I admit you. But I think they are just learning how to live with me, or I guess I can learning how to live with them. I don't know, but that's happened. Yeah.
Do they totally accept you now yet, your parents?
Verbally, not yet, but practically, they let me do what I want because I earn from my family. I'm responsible for my life. Have a good job. I have, help, family and people around to have, their better life. So I think they should admit. But, I think as a Thai family, very traditional, it's quite, how could you say that? กระดากปาก I don't know how to say in English. It's quite not easy for them to speak out that, wow, I'm so proud that I have, transgender daughter, as their.
I'm talking to you, but as a speaking as a human to another. I think the part that struck me was you were growing up as a transgender and your parents didn't accept you, so it was difficult. And we have a conversation before we are on air now that, correct me if I'm wrong, you work to pay for your parents' debt. Am I correct? I think a part of me that as a human, I want to ask you, is it difficult though? Because a lot of people would just hate their parents already. They are the one who make your life a bit more difficult. But you end up, working and paying debt for your parents. So how is it for you? Can you share me on that?
I think I'm the one that has been, shaped with the Thai society value on the gratitude system. You know that, right? So, and once I try to analyze gratitude system, if that works for me, in some sense, of course, I think we may have different ideas and have different situations and scenarios that I don't know what the other life could be, harder than me or challenging, than anyone else. But to me, personally, my family, they, even though they don't really, they never say they accept me totally, but I can sense from the way that they treat me, better, They didn't force me to do what I don't want to do. After I proved that, yeah, of course, life, I made my decision on my own life. But come back to the gratitude system, and I don't know, to me, I feel living at the end of the life, you are, how could you say that? You are a human who needs people around. You cannot live alone. Of course, I know that we need to die alone because we were born alone. But in the reality, you will need someone. You will need a family. You need a support system to be able to live better, to learn better, and to grow better. This is what I believe as well. So come back to what I need to be responsible for, for my family debt and kind of thing. At first, I didn't want, of course, because that's spent a lot of, my whole, almost 5 years to handle that. It consumed a lot, so spiritually, financially, of course, to take care of that. But another side, another perspective that I gained from my family is more than just leave them alone or leave them behind. I think it's the system that I need to take care of my family. And I think that could create more, a better picture for the country as well. If your family couldn't take care of the member of the family itself, that's going to be the burden of the society, of the state government to taking care. So, but how that you could make the country more, systematic, improved in terms of, how you could make a support system for the people around, especially for the poor people, for the, local, underdevelopment people who need, access, need more resources, need more opportunity to earn themselves. So think very simply. If you are employed, you get paid, so you can take care of yourself, you can take care of your family, you can take care of things, and you can spend more to boost the economy, right? So you can go for shopping, you can make more economy growing. So I think that's very simple system for you to understand that why family is important as a foundation of bringing up someone to be as a member, part of the society. So to me, I would take that as my responsibility for my family. But I understand the people who think differently. They might not see, something that I see. They have their own idea because I have a lot of friends who, of course, who hate their parents because of this kind of thing as well. But even though they say they hate, but they still give a help in some way. But of course, some people just kick their ass off. They don't care. So it depends on you. How do you see a value of the things? How you see the people, and how you see yourself as decision maker. Because life is yours, right? So
I have a lot of transgender friends, and like I said, when they are growing up with parents who don't understand, so difficult for them. But a lot of people told me that in the end they can accept it because they understand that sometimes parents are human and they make mistakes, and they try their best with their knowledge that they have back then. Maybe that's your case too, that you understand that their perspective, right?
Of course. Yeah, everyone is human. They can make mistake, but they shouldn't make mistake more than 3 times.
I want to know how healthy is it to be a transgender now? I assume it's better. Social perspective, the things that you face, when you mentioned about discrimination in sports, is it still happening now? Have you talked to transgender in high school?
To me personally, I would actually say it's still, getting the way, a long way to go to a certain level where we can say it's healthy. Well, don't get me wrong, I'm not really, negative, but it is actually the factual. There are a lot of, statistical proof, evidence-based proof. You just Google it and you will see, nowadays people still don't understand, well, what does it mean transgender? And again, as I mentioned earlier, you can work in beauty media entertainment, and if you are beautiful enough as a woman, we approve you to be a transgender. But if you are not beautiful, nah, come on. You shouldn't be a transgender. This idea can also happen. Even now today, I also face of this kind of idea as well. Because maybe my look, my body size doesn't, fit to the standard of beauty here. Because, Thai society, from what we perceive, they want, a woman who, small size, white skin, have a V shape in Korean, face kind of like that. And also when transgender, they define that, okay, we want to be like a woman, transgender as a woman as well. So we need to put ourselves into that standard as well. This is the idea that some transgender still believe in that way. They don't celebrate the diversity of their, body type and whatever. So, come back to the healthy point. I still couldn't see how we could say it's healthy, while we still see a lot of discrimination at workplace. 77% of transgender are rejected their job application because of their gender identity and expression. Some transgender got a lot of violence from the, police, from, people, their friends bully at the school, and they commit suicide. Even when you go to the Ken Tahan, I don't know how to say that. Yeah.
You can say it in Thai.
Yeah. People are still like, wow, this is beautiful, transgender, which is not, some are not beautiful, and they make joke of us. This still happen. Even in the news or media, they still use the word like สายเหลือง ใจตุ๊ด for example. You use this word for a man who are not courageous to do things, and you just make a joke like, oh, มึงใจตุ๊ดว่ะ for example. So I think if this still happen and still be in the joke of the people in daily life, well, I wouldn't say that would come into which level of healthy. That's still far away, I'm telling you.
Before we move on, I need to connect the dot for people that you were born. You mentioned that you were born in Bangkok and studying โรงเรียนวัด
Yeah, Temple School.
In your family you weren't fortunate. You
Couldn't
weren't rich,
afford.
couldn't afford it, but you went to จุฬาลงกรณ์
Yeah.
อักษรศาสตร์ right?
อักษรศาสตร์ yeah.
And you got the scholarships to Switzerland.
Well, not only scholarship to Switzerland, along the way from primary school, high school, Deferring School, Faculty of Arts, Chulalongkorn University, I always need to get scholarship. Scholarship for good students, scholarship for poor students. That I hate that word. Scholarship for poor student. You really define a person, a people class already. That this scholarship is only for poor. And I was like, okay, but I need to admit that. I need to survive. So I just, trying to get it. I got all the way along because my family couldn't afford.
Yeah, I think this is like when you mentioned about this is a real inequality because like for a lot of people who achieve that much would have been settled down, would have been living a pretty, like a comfortable life already. Like you get all these scholarships, you achieve, you were a good student, you went to Switzerland, and then you want a job, you still didn't get it.
Yeah,
I think
at
that's,
that time.
That's what you were trying to talk about.
Yeah.
Quite difficult.
I think inequality, what is the root cause of that? Of course, harassment, discrimination, violence, according to the gender identity. I think that could create it was one of the root cause of inequality according to the gender perspective. Of course, there are still many inequality perspective that we can talk about, but just focus on gender. That create a massive impact on one people's life already. So don't think about, if you are, have, how could I say, color skin, if you are not really Thai, if you are, from the foreign or whatever, it always, have a lot of intersectional problems that happen.
And it is still happening, right?
Still
going on.
Still.
I mean, for a lot of people, they might assume that it might be a bit better. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not the one who, I'm not the receiving end of it. So I will never know how difficult it is. But talking to you make me realize that it's still happening. It's still
happening. But I would say, well, now, what is the reason why some people say it's a bit better? Because we can see, I think, the representation, the voices of underrepresented, marginalized or minority groups like transgender, LGBTQ, we are talking louder. It's not because the society accepts, because we have more powerful tools. Social media helps us a lot to voice ourselves. Otherwise, if we come back, 10 years ago, whom we can talk to, which channel or tool that help us to make a movement.
I want this to be like comfortable for you, but I will have to like apologize, like that I will have to ask you to repeat some of the things that you have faced, but I will never get to see it from your perspective. Speaking of workplace, what kind of action that you get when it comes to discrimination?
Oh, actually, they come from my personal level, and also from what I see on the systemic, problem that my trans community have been facing. But focus on what I have experienced. For example, I applied a job after I came back from Switzerland, and if you graduated from Switzerland, I think you should be quite proud of yourself, right? That okay, I got good degree, so I could rock the job application. I should get a job, by the way, very quick, easy, and fast. But that disappointed me because, when I came back, I couldn't find a job, even one. And I applied in one program, they call it Future Leader, in one of the very international, biggest hotel chains in the world. They opened this program. We were competing around 3,000 young, fresh graduated, who want to become a future leader in the hotel industry. If you complete this program, 1 year, you can become a very quick supervisor or manager. This kind of elevator, lift career. But when I applied for that, and then I could enter into the final round, 8 finalists, and there are 8 properties of the hotel. What does it mean? It means that I should be secure my seat, my place, right, to be selected to be a future leader.
So there were 8 finalists for 8 spots.
For 8 properties, 8 hotels. Yeah, it means that I was guaranteed, to be one of that. But after that final day assessment, interviewing with the general manager, they reject me. I was the only one who got rejected. Why the 7 got a job?
Did you ask why?
Of course. They said because my performance at the final round was not at their satisfaction level. Okay, so I admitted I need to improve, right? So after that 1 year, I get to know from my secret sauce of news. The reason why they rejected me, not because of my performance was not that good. My scores on the top 3, not top 5, top 3 among that 8 finalists. But they didn't want me to be in their journey because I'm a transgender. They said I would create the negative image of the leader of the hotel. I was not that credible. So when I need to lead a team, people will not trust me because I'm a transgender. One of the biggest wounds that happened to my career progression because of the way that I am. It didn't because of I didn't perform well. My score top 3, but I was not picked up.
And yet you still inspire to keep doing things. You haven't stopped. And I mean, all this adversity doesn't stop you, right? You graduated and then you didn't get a job, but you are still working for the equality, for the rights for the transgender. Can you tell me what you do now?
Sure. Well, actually, I just started to really focus on my advocacy on equality for the transgender in the workplace. I created my own consulting academy just last year, December. You know why? Because during COVID, after I got a job, I grow professionally. My current company, they really, open for me, give me a lot of opportunity to grow financially, of course, personally and professionally as well. Thank you for that. And I could enjoy my privilege on getting that. But during COVID, I got a lot of call, message. I monitor a lot of news. I get to know, my trans community, and I see, wow, there are a lot of problems that happening. Academy. At first, I just did it like, a Facebook page to give a courage, to give a support for the transgender who want to grow their professional career. But I don't think it's not enough. So that's why I just created the company called the Trans Talent Consulting Academy to be a consultant, to give a consultancy service, not only for the transgender community, but also for the corporate company who want to take action seriously. So you need to take serious action and you need to have measurable metrics to measure that what you are doing right now is create the impact, outcome, not just the image, like beautiful image, like you have seen in Pride Month. So I think it's time that I, as a transgender who work in a corporate company, who get experience, and I'm a transgender myself, I need to work like, bringing these two group of other people to meet each other, to learn each other that, wow, as a transgender, we are capable of doing things, we are trustworthy, we can be a future leaders as well. So that's why now we are doing with some project with some institutions to drive this advocacy, and we're gonna make more on the practice to the Thai company to learn and to be better and to do better.
I want to learn as well. What are some of the practices that so common in Thailand that actually like they might do it without realizing that it's discriminate against the transgender community?
You mean
in the workplace?
The discrimination practice or the anti-discrimination practice?
The discrimination thing that we are doing wrong.
Thing that we are doing wrong. Well, for example, you have announced the benefit for a transgender to get the sex reassignment surgery leave, but in your company, you never hire a transgender. So why would you put in that policy and then make a PR and make a marketing campaign on that? It doesn't make sense.
Is it even hurting more if you compare two companies, both don't hire transgender, but the first company may do the PR. Is it hurting more to see this kind of company or is it?
It is actually not hurting ourselves, but I think it's hurting their own brand as well. Because, when you are doing something like not real, not true, so I think that's pity for them. And people know nowadays, we know the companies more than what they know themselves. And that's why it's our, mission for our trans community to help the companies to do and to be better, rather than just, doing kind of pink watching and, rainbow marketing campaign that shouldn't be sustained, in the long term. And I think nowadays people do a lot of, benefit for the transgender, but I think they should prove more on the number of hire, of employment to the transgender into the company. And not only hire them, but how that you could have their, career journey for them. No? Like you have the career journey for future leaders. Cisgender, you have women leadership, whatever you can have. I think trans can get the same.
For me, what I practice is actually like in the end, I just like basic rules of empathy. Like basic rule of being a human. If there are people who apply for jobs for my company, I just like I don't investigate if they are like transgender or what gender. If you are able to do the job, then you are welcome to the team. I'm not sure if that's a correct attitude to approach this, because in the end I don't know how to keep up with all the knowledge and updated information about this. But what I do is just follow the basic rules of being a human. If you can do the job, then welcome to the team.
Of course. I think it's classic, consideration when you do business. You need to hire people because of their competencies, not because of their gender, right? This should be the ideal. but this thing never happened, right? People trying to investigate. This is LGBTQ. No, we just get promote more cisgender more. So this is still happen. But if that could make it over on what you were saying, that would be great. And if what I mean is that not only high on LGBTQ, you need to have more journey, empower them to be, maybe a better position, got promotion. But the reason I'm telling this is doesn't mean that you need to hire a transgender because we get the quota of the gender. Yeah. Again, come back. We need to hire people with the competencies. But let me just give it more idea. But people to be capable or to have more competencies, they need opportunity. They need access to the resources to learn and to grow, right? To practice themselves. But the thing is that in the reality, transgender even get less opportunity and access to that resources to grow themselves professionally. And that's why we need to see this thing with different perspective and try to tackle in a different level of the problem. First of all, I think before you asking me what you should do, asking yourself first why you do this. What is the purpose of you doing this? And then you can know, yeah? If you want to have the transgender, you go to work with them, listen to them, get engaged with them. Rather than just, get cisgender, like man or woman, to do the policy for the transgender without asking them how they are, what they want. Things like that. I mean, we need to work together, by the way. It's a cooperation rather than just, comparisons and do things separately.
So I don't actually do this even with women to compliment someone like you are beautiful. But I think for a lot of people, think about, like someone old in an office when they want to impress someone, they go like, oh, you หนูสวยจัง right? I think you have seen that, right? หนูสวยจัง Nikki สวยจัง Is it a right approach? How should we? I think we want to connect to you.
Okay.
Yeah. How should we approach to this? What should I do? Yeah.
Well, this is the classic approach. Like God, my transgender friend God. Well, I actually never say something like this. I don't say, oh, หล่อจัง. It doesn't mean that I don't want to compliment you. But it's I would say, oh, you look fresh. And even sometimes I felt, are you okay? Anything that I can help? I can see you sad, something like that. I mean, if someone happy, you look happy. Rather than just beautiful, because beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So, and some people I myself, I just don't know. I myself sometimes people just compliment in that way, and I sometimes was not that secure because someday I feel like I'm not beautiful. Why these people just come and ask and tell me I'm beautiful, even though I feel I'm not. It's okay, so just maybe don't put beautiful word that much. You just put something that giving a more energy, vibe. Oh, you look cool. You look great today. I don't know if you have heard when I talk in my foreigner friend, they never compliment, oh, beautiful. They just say, oh, you look great today. You look fresh today. I think that's another approach.
So I can go okay, so ดูสดชื่นจัง
สดชื่นจัง that's it. Oh, you look happy. How are you?
Because I will never say สวยจัง to my ลูกน้องผู้หญิง as well. Just weird.
It kind of, yeah.
But I know it happens to you.
It happens. Yeah, it does.
And these are the things that we need to learn. Because I want to live in harmony with everyone. I want to make it inclusive. Speaking of being beautiful, I want to touch on something more personal.
Okay.
But I think it's quite important because Indian, we are humans, and we share the same age and interesting topics that important for people our age is marriage, relationships, dating even. How is it for you being transgender living in Bangkok do you get approached in a proper way or how is it now
You know, I used to be in the relationship, a long relationship, like 7 years, with a Thai guy. We studied at the same school, even when I was like, short hair. หัวโปกตอนนั้น Well, we were dating and we were like, put together in relationship until I was in university, and then I was just okay. It was great experience. He treated me like, as a woman, as a girl. And a lot of people, they try to embarrass me as well, because in that time, when you wear short hair, it make difficult for people to like judge, like, okay, you are like girl with short hair in that time. So he protect me a lot, and he always say to me that whatever people like see you, I see you as a woman, and that's it. You don't need to believe or trust any other words. You don't need to listen to that. Give a shit on that. So I was so happy. He protective, and that one of the very very healthy relationship from what I have been known in Thai guys or dating with Thai boys. But after that person, the Thai person, I export myself. I don't date with Thai guy anymore. I export myself to I don't know what happened. Maybe because like my mindset changed. When I feel more comfortable, I feel more relaxed talking with people outside of the country. But of course, like my trans community, I think a lot of them have been, even up until today, in the relationship with Thai guys who understand what the value of human being, like you just mentioned. Yeah. Personally, I think Thai society has been shaped in a certain way that Thai guys, shouldn't, date with the transgender because they are not women, for example. This is what I have heard. And they're always, trying to make us abnormal. Even though, like, diversity is normal, it exists, as at the beginning, like, since human was born. So I think the social value shape a lot of the way that we think, not only about guys, but about ourselves. I mean, for example, have you heard about men cannot express, men cannot cry, men cannot talk? Why? What do you think? Like, why? Like Thai society teach boys like not to cry, not to express, because they want to be like, gaining strong. The power, strength, to be dominant. This is my assumption. And of course, I just read some articles, that kind of thing, but it's kind of like, power of being. But I don't want to, judge that much, because nowadays when I go to do the training with, a lot of companies, I always raise the example of like this, when we try to make understanding, a mutual understanding between the relationship between LGBTQ and also, cisgender in the workplace. When we talk about inclusive workplace, it's not about get trying to be a leader and then kill the other. It's not about get women into the power position and kill the men. No. Inclusion means that we are improving the relationship between each other to live better together. That's the keyword of inclusion.
I think like I will get back to relationship things.
Sure.
I think what I want to know is that for a transgender, can you live in a healthy conditions when you love someone? I think that's the bottom of it now. Like, like if you find someone and you love him or her, does Thai society allows you to be yourself and be comfortable just to love someone yet?
In reality, it is not. We still need to, to adjust a lot, to be, we cannot love like someone and dedicate a lot, because we still believe that, well, there are, some excuses that they say male would love to have baby. If the transgender cannot have the baby, so they cannot build a family together. This is the idea that, shape the way that we think about ourselves too. and that lose our self-confidence to be in a relationship with the guys as well, because we are afraid of that's the excuse of not having be able to have a baby, so the guy would leave us. And I think it's not easy still, even now today, some of us still think in that way. But to me, personally, I don't really believe in that notion at all, because I think when we talk about loving someone, it's not just about having baby together. It's about the future you are making together. You are not looking for the love partner, you're looking for the life partner. So the definition of love and life is different. So I cannot just say to you, and I don't want to generalize according to my own personal perspective. You know what I mean? So from what I see myself, I think differently already. So I don't care how the people, trying to shape me and trying to make me believe that I'm not deserve a true love. I believe that I deserve the true love. But what kind of love, how it turned out to be love, it depends on me who decide, not the society, not even the guy. Yeah. So.
But
did I answer or what?
yes, but I think for heterosexual, it's almost automatic. It's get married, buy a house, and then you just leave. I think that's what I want to learn from your perspective. What are the obstacles? What in Thailand is not legalized yet.
Not yet.
The marriage.
Same-sex marriage, not yet.
So that's one obstacle.
I think yes.
Are there more? What else is difficulties when you just want to love or want to live with someone? Because in the end, I think that's human nature that they want to be with someone.
Oh, again, come back to the social value. I think we are, taking into two battlefields. The first, of course, about things about law and regulation, same-sex marriage, to allow you to have, the rights to doing things, with your partners or whatever. But again, come back to the value as well. The way that we are taught to think, to believe, it's really a massive and fundamental idea of how you define your relationship, define your perspective on being heterosexual, homosexual as well. So I think these two things that we are in a battlefield. But I think the most important thing that we should focus, of course, one thing, law is a must to do, but also the value that we are believing is one thing that we should bring new perspective of how we could see different kind of love. If your people would love to have the same pattern, married, have sex, get baby or whatever. So it's really on the matter of choice that you could choose about yourself. But I cannot say that much because I'm still on not that well. I'm not in the stage yet on being in the building the family with someone. But what I learned is that the relationship spectrum and also perspective change a lot. People, they open mind more, and they are not really look into just genital idea. They look more on the person as a human. They're looking for some partner who to live the life together. And I think that are changing, even gradually. But I can still see. This is a proof of my community. I'm not a proof because I'm not yet in that stage. So wish me luck. So I don't know.
Yeah, wish you the best. I think I can imagine you with very happy relationships from my experience, because you have achieved so much.
Thank you.
And with this maturity, I think that you go a long way. Thank you very much. People like you make me, are the reasons why I still enjoy my life. When I say people like you, it's because I didn't get to face as much adversity as you did. but you overcame a lot of difficulties and you are still like have energy to do things for other people as well. So that's why I said like people like you are the reasons that keep my life like a bit more happy, in this like especially now it's a bit gloomy, in Bangkok. Yeah. So thank you very much.
Thank you, you too. PM.
Thank you.
Same to you. Like as I told you, like before our voices, are hidden. Our representation are push it, backward, or push it down. But because of, the media, like the people like you as well, the team who, trying to support, I think we need a support system for the people who still, feel they are not included in the society. You get them included, you get them into, to be the voice of the people who maybe have experienced the same thing, same difficulties, and of course, I think if we again work together, I believe that people would getting more understandable of what we are talking today, and in the future would be more inclusive and more sustainable. I think Thai people have more ability to open mind to understand because you are in the places where a lot of transgender LGBTQ people are here, and you have a book to read, to learn. So just open mind, open the book, and learn the story rather than judge it by the cover. I think that makes sense, right? So
I want to make sure that you get to reward yourself too, because you have done so much. And for me, like when I talk to like people like you who want to do big things, sometimes finish line is you don't know where it is. It's so far. And along the way, I just want to make sure that you reward yourself and make sure that you understand that you have come very far.
Thank you.
And you've done a very good job already. So as of now, I want to make sure that you understand that you are the fourth guest of this new concept of the program that will be interviewing in English. Is it odd for you? Is it awkward? I just want to...
It's an honor. It's an honor for me. I really enjoy talking with you. I really enjoy, the way that you try to push, the thing to the people, the untold story to the people to be more, curious and to learn more. I think curiosity has been lacked for Thai people for long, and especially when you're talking about gender. So people don't know. So how do you make them know? I think that's more important. And I love that. Thank you so much for bringing me here.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for knowing my attention, and that will be an important point to share with everyone who listen to this interview that the concept of transgender and gender in general is still very new. Even it's not that new, it's still very new for a lot of people. And if I made any mistake during our conversation, just feel free to share. But in my part, I want to apologize in advance as well.
Well, we open for constructive feedback, by the way. That's the way we can improve, right? So thank you so much, PM.
ขอบคุณค่ะ
ขอบคุณค่ะ
workpointTODAY สาระความรู้เพื่อวันนี้